Hello and welcome back to Kooky Towers on a very warm, very summery feeling day today. I am trying to put together my art kit for this coming summer. Every year I've got a little travel kit that I put together, I take with me when I'm on my travels out and about. Obviously you can't take everything, so I'm going to be putting that together and I will show you this year's setup. If you're looking for a setup from last year, there will probably be one linked above in the cards at this point, hopefully, if I can do my technology. So as I was looking through those, I've been going through all my kit and rediscovering things that I had forgotten about and have been reminded about recently. I had an email that came through about a specific set and I thought, oh, hold on a minute, I've got some of those. And indeed I had. So I will go through this little set that I'm going to show you. There is a little confusion, but I will try and explain and make it clearer. So let's get into it. The sets I am referring to are the Koh-I-Noor set of Anilinky paints. Now these are watercolour, but dye-based watercolour. So if you're the kind of person who likes to be able to lift watercolour off your paper, don't go for these. These are a brilliant dye. They're labelled as a brilliant watercolour, and you can get them in sets of 12, 24, 36, which I think, no, this is a 24 set I've got here, 24, 36 and 48. I'm hoping at some point to try and get hold of the 48 set so I could do you a review on that to find out the differences between the colours and the different variations you can get. But they're a very handy thing to take out and about. Now, another thing that you need to bear in mind for these is they are not light fast. So if you're going to do something that you're going to sell, you'd have to scan it maybe to be a scannable piece that you could then sell as a print. I would not use these for any original artwork that you send out. They are, on the other hand, brilliant for sketchbook work. So if you're taking things out and about and you want to take out your sketchbook, you want to take these out as well on the way, perfect thing to take. So as I said, these come in sets of 12, 24, 36 and 48. And again, I will be having a look for the 48 set, which I have located somewhere and will probably get at some point or another, and then I'll show you the differences. So going back into these, Koh-I-Noor are very famous for their pencils. You might have used some of their pencils previously. They have got an artist set of watercolours, but these are not. I think these may be aimed at children, a little bit like the Reeve sets. I don't know, in the UK we used to have a little box of Reeve sets that our art teachers used to give us, or are given out so that people can practice with watercolour, but it's not an artist grade, it is definitely a student grade. Now the confusion begins with these is that Koh-I-Noor also do another set which looks remarkably similar. The difference being is that this set it's called the round watercolours, and these are not as pigmented as the brilliant watercolours. They are still a watercolour, but they don't have as much brilliance or pigment to them as these ones do. Kind of makes it hard because they're both in the similar kind of container, so just be aware that there are two kinds. I think I had these a while ago, but yes, the brilliant ones are the ones I'm going to be looking at in depth, but if you'd like me to, I could compare both of these today so you can see the differences. Are you up for that, friends? Well, we'll give it a go. Let's go for the brilliant ones first. So they come in little palettes like this. Take off the top layer, and that top layer very handily becomes a mixing palette. So you have got that there. Also in the middle of each of these pieces you have a spare one which you could use to add a little bit of water to if you wanted to mix on the go. But that is a handy little, very, very sturdy plastic palette that you could use to take out with you. Top row, it screws off the top. You have another layer underneath. You have another layer underneath, and strangely enough, another layer underneath that. So there are 24 in all in this set. I'll go through them in order. Now, another thing you need to be aware of is that they don't actually give you the colours. So I suggest that what you do is a little swatch for yourself, so you know which ones are in which set, and then maybe you could put a little label underneath to label 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you know which one's which, because I know these can get mixed up. Oh, I'm flashing my, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'll do it again. I know that these can get mixed up when you're working, and just a little bit of forethought where you're labeling and swatching to find out you're not going to get too far wrong with them. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that set on there. I'm going to pop that to one side. Now, try and drag this down a little bit so you can see. That one is a white. I'm not even going to attempt to do that on paper. You know, you will know what a white is, but there are 6 colours in each section. I'll do it for you, but I can assure you it's not going to show up very well. So this is the top layer. I think I might have something on my brush there. Let me get a cleaner brush going on. Clean my brush off. Yeah, ignore that bit there. That was a bit of remnants of another session that I've just been doing. So the white, it's a white, it's mixable, you can use it with the other colours. Okay, we're going to this one here. Now, also bear in mind that the colours on these palettes do not always reflect what colour you will get, which is also another reason I'd ask you to do a swatch. So this is like a lemony yellow colour. These are all mixable, by the way. You can mix them together to create different shades. So that's a lemony yellow. I've got my little wiping rag at the side here, so I can just wipe down my brush. And you can see they're quite vibrant. You know, they're a good set to take out with you. Look at that beautiful, like a buttercup yellow, isn't it? Really quite vibrant. And that is definitely a feature of the Brilliant set, is that the colours are bright, vibrant. But again, as I said, that also, because they are dye based, makes them very hard to lift if you make a mistake. So you'd have to find a very cunning way of covering up any mistakes that you might make. This is more of an Indian yellow, I would say, veering towards yeah, I would say definitely an Indian or cadmium yellow. Now this top one is a brown. I've said that they're all quite vibrant. When I tried this before, oh actually no, it's a little better. It's probably user error on that one. It just seemed to be not as pigmented as the others, but that's like an ochre colour, maybe a dark ochre. And then the last one on this top layer, I believe, is an orange. Don't worry if there's some slight discoloration. There is some slight discoloration on the top of the palette of mine. This may be due to the fact that I've had these for a few years, but also maybe just due to the way that dye watercolours work. So that's your top layer. You've got quite a nice selection of yellows and browns, greens and a white there. So let's take that one off. And then we're on to this set now. These all look quite dark, don't they? And what we've got here are blues and greens, I do believe. Actually, I think I'm going to do this set next. I think they might have got muddled up. That's what I want to do, is go down to the reds. So you can clearly see that these are red, but obviously you can't see the actual colour until we get into adding water on. So, oops, I've got too much water dangling around on my brush there. So that's the first red. That's kind of a real sort of scarlety red. Orangey kind of even as well. So that's that one. The next one in the line. You can see about the vibrance there. They really are quite vibrant and really, really inexpensive for the amount of paint you get, which is what I like about them. You wouldn't have to be too precious with them. Which comes into mind if you're travelling on an aeroplane, or you're away somewhere and things get displaced and you end up losing your luggage. You wouldn't mind too much if these disappeared or got lost, because as I said, they are really quite inexpensive. I think this set at the moment you can get for varying between £8.50 and £11 depending on where you shop, which I don't think is too bad for a set of very vibrant watercolour paints. This is a really beautiful colour. I love this one. It's so cool. It reminds me of a Daniel Smith colour. I can't even tell you which one it is now. It's like a rose. Really lovely. And then this one, I think this is the last of the reddy pinks in this section. You get quite a variety. You know, this is more of a, actually it's probably more of a rose colour. The other one's more magenta-y rose, but a nice mix, and you can mix them together. So let's get that one down. Ooh, I'll dip it in my tea. How rude. This one is beautiful. If my brain serves me correctly, it is the most stunning purple and so pigmented. I mean, really pigmented. Look at that. And I didn't have to scrub at it to get that pigment coming off. And say some of them are a little bit more harder to get going, but that one, literally, you touch your brush to it and it's away. And I do believe this one's pretty much as well. Look at the vibrancy of these. You can't complain for the amount of money that you'd spend for this set. As I say, in between £8 and £10, I think that's a pretty good little set of colours to take away with you if you want to do some watercolour. So now we're going on to the third layer. I'll put that to one side so it can do a dry off. I do recommend, if you do take them out, I mean, you can obviously put them back together straight away, but nice to let them dry out a little bit. Okay, so let's stick with the blues, as we are clearly bluing it along. Look at this one. Superb, a really bright blue. And again, very vibrant. Next one. Oops, I missed one. Keep them in order. Order. This one is bright, vibrant, but dark. It's kind of a bit similar to the one in the first row, but I think it's got more of a green tone to it. To me, to my eye, it seems to have a little bit more of a green tone. My swatching is rubbish today, people. I do apologise. Okay, let's get to the one that I was so eager to try that I jumped one. So this is this one. That's dark. That's a really dark, it's like a dark bluey with a red tint to it. Really nice though, beautiful colour. And then onto the greens that we have. So we've got this first green it's kind of a bit like sap green, isn't it? Or is it more golden? I can't tell. I've got some light shining through the window at the minute. We'll see how it dries off. So that's the first green. Then we have, this one looks like it's going to be more of a foresty green, a sagey green. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's darker. That's probably more sap green, is it? I don't know. It's definitely got a yellow tinge to it. Could be like a gold green. Yeah, it does seem to have a definite yellow towards it. And this one is the last green. And this particular set, this is the darker green, isn't it? Still bright and vibrant though, really, you know, vibrant colour. And you can mix that with other colours to get different greens, obviously. They're all mixable. So that's the third layer. And now we're on to the last layer. These are the darks. I say darks, but we have a varying selection of colours in this. Where to start? Where to start? Let's start here. Now this is a grey. It's very light grey. It's probably veering towards like a silvery grey, but it's not highly pigmented as grey. It probably is, but it's just very light. Let's go with that analysis for that one. The next one, this one here, is, ooh, really nice. I do believe this is black. Yeah. I seem to have got hair on my brush. Let's get rid of that. No one wants a hairy brush. There we go. So that's black. This one, I believe, unless I'm strongly mistaken, is kind of a really dark greeny black. Beautiful colour. So nice. If you like your magical greens, then this is definitely one for you. Who doesn't like a magical green? Oh, people don't like green for some reason. I didn't, but I have found as I've got older that I have a very big love of greens, certain greens, especially for wearing greens, but also very handy if you want to take out and do landscapes and things. I do believe the next two are browns. Yes, this is it's like a sienna, maybe. It's not very handy not having the colour names, but I think the actual fact of this and how neatly it fits together makes up for that. And I think this is a darker brown. This one is, yeah, it's more of a burnt umbery brown. Okay, so the last one, I don't know if you can see this, but it looks to be some kind of an, it's got some glitz to it. It's like an iridescent, and I think it may show up when it's dried, but it will probably show up even better if it was on top of another paint. But let's swatch it in. I can see the shine. It's more, it's like a pearl an iridescenty pearly white, which is very handy for just adding a little bit of shine to certain things, but again won't show up properly until it's dried. So that's your set. That's the Anilinky Koh-I-Noor Anilinky set of dye-based watercolours. Now the other thing about this that might be interesting to you if you're an embroiderer or you work on fabric is that this dye-based watercolour works really well on fabric. There are a couple of very famous embroiderers who use this to put in some colour onto their textile pieces, so that's worth looking into if you are also that way inclined and you like to make embroidery pieces. Right, okay, so now let's get on to the water-based set. I think I'm getting myself confused here. Put that on the wrong set. That's clever, isn't it? Yeah, this needs to go over here. I've attached it to another set. Also, good to know if you want to like build up sets and you want to take a couple of sets out with you, they'll all stack together, which is great. Okay, so this is the round watercolor set. So it's not the brilliant set. There are two different ones. It looks very similar, but you can probably see if I go through the colors that these you can actually tell more of what the color is. If you can see, they're not as dark as the Anilinky, so that's one way to tell them apart. I seem to have collected a lot of these. So I've got this set, which is a 24 set, and I've also got two of these sets, which are the 36. So I've got plenty of these to go at. Now let me swatch these on the other page and then we can kind of do a comparison. Forgive me, I'm not changing my water. We'll just do the white. We know it's not going to show up as well. Oh look, it will do because of the watercolour. But let me just say, that's white. There we go. Okay, next one. The lemony yellow. Now you can probably see that these are a lot less pigmented than the brilliants without me even saying anything. Obviously you can layer them up, and again, if you didn't really want to, if you just wanted to get some kind of a base down and then work into it with other media, pretty good also. Here's a goldeny yellow colour. That's not bad actually. That's quite nice and bright. Then we're on to the Indian yellow. I'm shaking the table, I do apologise. That's a bit wishy-washy. It's not too bad. Just needed a bit of water adding to it. Haven't got this more of an ochre colour. Again, it probably needs a little bit of a soak with some water before you go into it. And lastly on this layer we have the orange. Fairly bright, not quite as vibrant or as pigmented as the other set, but that's to be expected because the other one set is a brilliant set. Okay, now the order of colours is different for these, so I'll try and do the reds first like I did last time. Maybe I should have just sprayed these with a little bit of water just to get them going a little bit, but these are definitely more watery, water-based, less brilliant, less pigmented. How many ways can I put it? drop me a comment. Drop me a comment down below. How many ways can I say this? There is a price difference in between them as well. I do believe that the brilliant ones are a little more expensive. I think these guys come in really cheaply at about £5 a set. Again, if you want to get yourself a set, that's quite a nice colour. A nice handy little set to take out with you. Then I see no problem with this set at all. Or alternatively, if you're travelling with children and you want, they would think they'd have the same set as you if you got both of them. That's a nice colour. That's a rose watercolour. Again though, if you're travelling with children and you want children to use them, do be aware that if you're using the dye based ones, it doesn't lift out as well. So working with children, you need to be aware that they may get it on their clothes. Little apron would solve that, or some old t-shirt that they're wearing where you don't really mind if it gets paint on it. Let's go into that a bit more. That's better. Yeah, I think these would benefit from a little spray of water before we go into them, which I might actually try on the next layer. Take that one off. Now we're into the browns and greens, so because we're on browns, I'm going to continue, but first of all I'm going in with my little spray bottle and do a little pre-charge, see if that helps with the pigmentation. Okay, so could have left it to stand a little longer now that I've sprayed them, but you know, oh, actually that did work really well. That's quite pigmented. I take it back. This is not too bad as a little set. I've always favoured the brilliants, but either of these as an economy little travel set to take with you would be great. Good old Koh-I-Noor coming up with the goods again. Brilliant. That's kind of a brick red, isn't it? If you were doing buildings and things, that would be awesome for that. And now into the greens. So, oh, they did definitely benefit from a quick spray of water, I would say. So do bear that in mind if you're going to get a set of these. Just to prep them a bit with the water. Definitely loosens them up, because the paints themselves are quite hard. Obviously they're like a hard based paint. But still pretty good. Thinking of UK based suppliers, Cult Pens have got the full set of these, and the watercolours, the brilliant ones and the watercolour ones, the round watercolour. So they're a good company to go to. Also a company called Rainbow Silks in the UK. I'm sorry I only know the UK links. I am sure if you are in a different country there are places that you can get these from. And you just need to search, do a Google search, and these will be available to you for that. Right, now last set for this one. These are the blues and grey and black. So let's charge those up also. Obviously if you get the bigger sets you're going to get a more variety of colours. This is the 24 set for each of the ones that I'm doing. So let's start on the blues. Let's start there. That water is definitely helping. Water helps everything. I have to keep reminding myself to drink more water. I used to have an app that reminded me to have a drink of water by it had little plants that you had to water, and that made me drink water because I was worried about killing the plants that didn't exist except on my watch or phone. So that kept me going. A bit like a Tamagotchi, isn't it? Anybody remember those? Oh my losh, I remember them so well. Both of my girls had one each, and I was left in charge of them at some point, and woe betide if I forgot to do anything with them. Feed them, play with them. Didn't have to do that with the plant thing though. You just had to have a drink of water and then just click the droplet button so that your plants would get water. Now I have to say that these blues do not have as much variation as the blues in the Brilliant set. Those two look pretty similar. That's more like a Prussian blue maybe, but again, do you know what? You could mix the blues and greens together, as I say, for the price. Oh, that is very vibrant as black, so that's a very vibrant black colour. If you use black, I know some people don't in their watercolours. I do, because I like to break all the rules. Actually, when I'm using things darker shades, I tend to go for shadow violets and Payne's greys. It's nice to have a black, and that grey is definitely more of a grey. Okay, so there we go. Let's have a look at both sets together. Let's see if I can swing you out a bit so you can have a look at these compared to each other. I can see, and I don't know if you can see, this side, which is the Brilliants. They are definitely have more pigment to them than these guys do. Both sets really valid. Price point on these are excellent. So if you are considering a little set of paints to take out with you, also because of the stackability of them and the fact you've got a little mixing palette in the middle there, I don't think you can go far wrong with this set. So I would definitely recommend either of them. I love these because I also do embroidery, so I do work with these on, you know, as a background to an embroidered piece. It's a dye based, it's really good, and it doesn't lift. But the other one, the round watercolours, also very recommended, thumbs up. So this one is the Anilinky, that's the word you need to look for. The new packaging for these, they used to come in a green box and now they come in a blue box. These, I think they still come in a green box. It used to be very confusing when they were both in a green box, but these ones are now in a blue box. 12, 24, 36 and 48 for both sets, and I would recommend them for a travelly kit. I will be back at some point to show you my 2022 travel kit when I've eventually decided what I'm going to put in it. But yeah, if you want to skip on over to a previous incarnation of my travel kit, then I'm sure you'll be able to find it in last year's selection. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a really great day and I will see you soon. Bye!